and it pretty much always catches me saying, are we live? Are we live? I believe we are. So I'm just gonna check on my phone, but welcome to everybody. Christina from Authentic Action Coaching, beaming to you live. Welcome to this week's Tuesday Live. Super excited about this conversation, as I've been sharing endlessly from last week. Welcome to DJ Flourish, aka Caroline Kelf. How are you? You all right?
I'm perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I've been really excited too since we connected, and it's just so nice to find someone who's very aligned to you, which happens a lot the more you become aligned, isn't it? So yeah, excited.
Yeah, no, and it is. I think we said that before, of like energy attracts like energy, and this is a total example of that as far as I'm concerned, because I think actually that's probably a good place to start. I only met you a week ago, like a week and a half ago. I literally came across your video on Facebook and just immediately was kind of sucked into it and just thought, who is this person? I need to know this person. And then I found out that obviously you're DJing, which we'll talk about tonight, about Rave to Freedom. And I have missed dancing like a lot of people I know have during lockdown. And obviously then I attended one of your Zoom raves and absolutely loved it. So yeah, it's brilliant, the work that you're doing. I'm absolutely loving the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Bringing high vibes.
High vibes. Absolutely. Yeah. So for those of you who are watching on Facebook, I'm kind of trying to keep a bit of an eye out. So we're going to be chatting to lovely Caroline about what she's been doing, a little bit of her past, but we're going to also cover topics around vulnerability, authenticity, and aligning yourself to doing what you absolutely love. Because, you know, Caroline is walking example of this, like walking, talking example of this. So our aim here is to plant seeds of possibility and inspire you to think about what lights you up. So you can actually give yourself permission to do more of that, drop the I shoulds and actually move into a greater place of alignment. So we're going to get talking. Would you like to introduce what you have been doing, Caroline, and what's your kind of thinking behind Rave to Freedom?
Yeah, okay. So I started DJing in 2020, not long ago. Oh no, it was just at the end of 2019, and we'll come into how that happened and everything later on when we'll come about talking about what lights me up and everything. But I started DJing in 2019, and I knew that it was going to be a big part of my purpose. I've known for a while that I wanted to do something completely different, and I was feeling very dissatisfied and not really very full up, as it were. And so I started DJing, and then I just absolutely fell in love with it. And you know, I've got a heavy clubbing background, and I used to love after parties and putting all the tunes on, all that kind of stuff. So it was quite easy for me to fall in love with it. And then I didn't know where it was going. All I knew was that I just was going to take the next step, even though that felt really uncomfortable. So I just put it out there on the 1st of January, 2020. Oh, heads up, guys, just to let you know, I've decided to be a DJ.
Love that so much.
Yeah. And then I just started like, right, well, what's my next step? It's to learn to mix properly. What's my next step after that? You know, it's to build a library of different tunes. And then from those tunes, I found like I was really drawn into ones that had meaning behind them. And I started creating like playlists for different positivities, but different key messages and things like that. And then we went into lockdown, and it was the perfect opportunity for me to do something. And so I just thought, oh, why don't I do like an online rave? All the other DJs were doing it, you know. And so I did one with friends and family, and it was quite amateur at first, but everybody seemed to love it. And then from that, I was like, I loved it, but I didn't really feel connected to my audience, because I value depth and connection. They're part of my core values. And so I thought, right, well, who do I want to spend my time with? I want to spend my time a lot of the time with women who are on my wavelength. And because of what we're going through, it was nice to create a little like a trial of women for me to do this. And we started off with it every morning, Monday to Friday, because I at that point in my life, I didn't manage my energy very well. So it was like, right, now we're going to do it every morning, because all fitness instructors were doing it, weren't they? They were doing like 5 days in a row. So I was like, well, I'll do 5 days of raving then. But actually, to put together like that for every day when you haven't done it before is quite full on. So I got this group of like 20 women who I'd met through networking and put it out there, and they all came on, and I trialed, I got feedback, I honed it, I upgraded it, changed it, upgraded my systems, and then created a membership, and then that's then led into me doing more kind of larger bespoke events, bigger events for people who are like coaches running workshops. It's like a great addition to engage their clients and stuff like that. And I've done a bit of corporate. So yeah, so basically what I do is I combine DJing with holding space for people to connect with their body, connect with the present moment, but then also channel their inner ravers and those feelings of freedom, expansion, joy, but at the same time with my membership, it's a very heart-centered place for women who value that, and it's all about community as well. And the women that come, we have nice chats. I think a lot of them like the chats just as much as they like the raving. And so yeah, so it's just evolving and growing, and I'm doing what I love, and every day I'm getting to create constantly, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Caroline, because I just know that so many people will just be in awe of your story, because you saw an opportunity, and I know you've shared before just how much music means to you, but then and how you show up vulnerably, because you're not acting like, oh yeah, I've got it all figured out, you know. I one of the things that I think, you know, drew me into you is your authenticity, because you like ooze genuineness. You do.
Yeah, well, I know. Well, at the beginning, it was like I was sharing with everyone. I've got all these thoughts that why am I doing this and and they saw that, you know, and I've never ever claimed with it that I'm going to be able to solve this, and this. This is just me following some intuitive like joy, and you can come along for the ride. You know, I'm not a trained coach. I've done a shitload of personal development and been through some really dark times that I can share with people and overcome stuff. But this is just me like sharing my gift and being, just being me and not pretending to be anything that I'm not.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. And you know, you spoke earlier before we came on live that, you know, we always talk about this growth zone, right? Like you're in your kind of comfort, which it sounds like you were starting to stagnate before you decided to do this, like something just wasn't right. And so you kind of thought, well, what is it that I want to do? And you took action on that. But it's not always been that comfortable, has it?
No, oh no, definitely not. No, it was at the beginning, that taking action and not knowing the outcome was extremely uncomfortable for me, especially, you know, I'm definitely a recovering people pleasing control freak, and that comes from, you know, childhood and masks that have been created to keep me safe from a very young age. And so doing something that you know that you're going to be judged for potentially, and you don't know what the outcome is, and you're probably going to make mistakes, was really frightening for me. Especially when I started doing the feel good raves in front of like family members and everything. I was like, on the day of them, I would spend the whole day in quite a high anxious state. Whereas now it's literally for just a few minutes before, unless it's something new that I haven't done before. And I'm just getting used to that now. And about, I described it to my members that on hindsight now, looking back at it all, I think I probably went in a little bit too hard at the beginning because of the perfectionist and control. It was like, I'm going to do all of it at 100 miles an hour. And I've learned to love myself a lot over the last 6 months to a year. And that was putting myself and giving too much.
Right.
And I wasn't protecting actually. Well, it's all right, Caroline, you don't have to do it all. You can feel like slightly out of your comfort. Not go like hell for leather, but actually, there's that saying that I'd rather be going through fear and feel alive than be numb and just dead inside, because that's what I was like before. And I was doing all this personal development for years and years, looking at my mindset, looking at my diet, looking at my relationships, my shadow side, all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't doing the one thing that was worth so much more than that. What lights me up.
Yeah, it's so true what you say, because I think, for a lot of us, that I think we are conditioned to almost like shame that side of us. And I know a lot of people, obviously, when I was trained as a coach, and before that, I was very much into personal development. And I think sometimes it can feel heavy. I mean, I'm a massive advocate for it not being heavy. At times it is. But I think, to your point, it's about finding a nice blend. And what we've talked about, and that's why, again, I just so agree with your message, is that our emotional state is, energy in motion, and we need to move that through us and release it out of us. And there's no better way to do that than dancing. I mean, and moving your body.
Yeah, and you can feel two emotions at the same time. So you can feel. So in the raves, we do like a grounding practice, but then bring in like a feeling of loving safety. So you can feel loving safety whilst feeling, anger or whatever. So there's less judgment towards it. So, and that's what the raves can do. But then also that you can really tap into those higher kind of vibes as well, and like afterwards that carries you through the day. Just like everyone who comes says that they're just so like energetic throughout the day, and they're getting loads done and lots of creative flow because you're moving. And the women who've been with me a long time, I've noticed that the shifts that they're having are really quite quick, because they're not just doing my stuff, they're doing other stuff too.
Yes.
But because
it's part and parcel.
Because it's light, they're not getting stuck in the dregs of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And moving through and having more kind of playful curiosity around stuff.
Yeah. I think as we like get into adulting and like all of the responsibilities, we can start to find that we take life far too seriously. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing that I love about what you're doing, that it's engaging in play. And it sounds like for a lot of the women, and I know I felt this when I attended your rave, is that, this sense of allowing, and that's what I talk about with my energy coaching, which is there are no bad or good emotions. They are all beautiful. They are all welcome. They are all present. The moment we try and stick them down is the moment we have problems. Yes. So being able to actually, as you say, create that safe space with some humor and some lightness and playfulness, it helps you free yourself of like the heavy stuff.
Yeah, it really does. But on that, I am really kind of honest with people, because, I've actually had quite a bit of physical trauma. So for me to be with emotions is quite hard, because automatically my body is like in a bracing. It braces a lot against emotion. Yeah, and I'm learning to build safety, and I've built a lot of safety in my body to cope with that now. It's a lot better than it was. How so? But I don't actually, when I rave, it's different for me. I don't actually feel all the emotions. For me, it's more about fun and stuff. I use slower practices in order for me to feel emotions. So what I say to everybody is it's an experiment, and it's what's right for you. And you know, the personal development industry has been quite rigid in, these things will work for you, do this and that's going to happen. And it got me really, it fed my perfectionist and fed my need for control and striving, that part that was kind of created at a very young age, rather than feeding the nurturing, gentle energy that I've been crying out for such a long time. So I just try and make people feel very safe, and in a quite an explorative way, but in a very kind to yourself way, without pushing. You know, there's no movements, big or small. Some people actually just end up doing things during the raves because they like a burst of, and I know that actually that might be because they can't face themselves, but that's all right. It doesn't matter.
It's a process, isn't it? I love what you say, because, and I notice this like in myself and the people that I work with, is that we are conditioned to go, did I do that right? Give me a gold star, like tell me I did it right. And a lot of the time we talk about, no, this is just self-expression. There is no right or wrong. It's just do you do you, in a space of non-judgment, unconditional love, and we're all just here together, expressing, moving without any judgment. And I think we need to create more spaces like this. We definitely do, don't we? I mean,
definitely.
Yeah,
it is. And but also with it is, I do obviously I do themes as well. So like we had you came to the empowerment rave, so that was like, the tunes that were picked were quite invoking a feeling of self-sovereignty and like inner strength and stuff like that. And I like doing that. I think people like that side of it, as well as the freedom to just play and explore. It even feels a bit safer when there's a theme, I think. So I'm playing with it myself at the moment. It's very much themed, because Friday's one is all about emerging into spring, because the energy of spring now is quite fun and new, and there's a lot of growth, isn't there? You can and so it's really a big time for intention, and so the tunes are quite new and uplifting and fun. But the more kind of freedom raves, which is a free flowing and stuff, can sometimes be a little bit more triggering for people. But if you take any judgment out of yourself, they can be such a way to connect to yourself on a very deep level.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing. What I love about what you've created as well, to your point, is just that mind-body connection is so crucially important to kind of notice, just become an observer, almost that out-of-body experience of like, oh, that I feel emotion come up, or oh, I feel different, rather than, I think to your point before, you know, so controlled over, well, like I want to feel this and I don't want to feel this. And I think that's what we need to kind of almost make okay again, that our equilibrium, our kind of ability to ride those emotional waves, is to be okay with all of them. And so instead of getting taken over like a tsunami, hop on your surfboard and be able to see the wave coming and know that it's okay. And then you can ride it, you can break through it for sure.
Yeah, and then so with the raves, sometimes people are really up high, sometimes they're not, and they're honoring that, and then that spills out into their life. You know, as a female, we have cycles, you know, and but also with my business, I have bouts of real creative expansion, and then I have bouts of not wanting to be seen and wanting to just hide. And so, like, from January to I knew January to February was not a time for me to be pushing. Just felt it, and I honored it. I really did honor it. I just kept things ticking over, and then suddenly I was like, right now I can feel it's coming there now, and I'm in a huge growth spurt at the moment. And I'm learning to honor that more and more.
Yeah. No, because I know you mentioned that before, and again, this is the benefit of getting to know yourself at a deep level, because you can feel into, no, this is what my body needs. This is, and to your point, and this is what I help a lot of women do, actually be able to not only just observe it, but the biggest thing is give yourself permission to honor it, instead of like shoulding all over yourself, like I should be running at 90 miles an hour constantly doing this and this and this and this. It's okay to slow down, and sometimes you've got to slow down to speed back up, and it sounds like that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's like if I get on the decks and I'm not in the right frame, it's just not going to come. Whereas like this morning, I dropped my daughter off at school, and I was like, right, what's going to bring me the most joy now? I was like, I'm going to get on the decks, because I could feel it. And then I just wrote two events in like 40 minutes, just bang, done. And so but if I'd have tried to do that not in flow, it wouldn't have worked at all, and you would hear that then they're clunky. The mixes wouldn't have been quite right. And yeah, it's definitely an art, but the more you do it, and the more you listen just to your intuition, like this morning I was like, shall I go to, because I needed to go to the pharmacy, and then I needed to go to Boots, and I was like, shall I go to the pharmacy first or Boots? And I was like, I'll go to Boots. And then I got to the pharmacy and I went, I'm going to go to the pharmacy first. And I walked in there and they were like, oh, I'm really sorry, we're closed because we've got no pharmacist. And I was like, bang, it was just so, why, even to those kind of things.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, and we spoke about this a little bit, of, again, we tend to think, oh, we get all trapped in our heads of like, there's a right, wrong decision that's in your head. It's logical processing. Exactly. But it sounds like what you're doing is actually more feeling it, sensing it. So it's a knowing, it's not a thinking, it's a knowing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I do that with my business, with every next move, day by day. I mean, my husband's a successful entrepreneur, and he's like, where is your figures? Where are your plans? Where's your targets? How many people are you bringing in? You need to get on LinkedIn. Da 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 da. And I'm like, no. All I'm doing, I can do that to a little degree.
Yes.
But I'm trying not to be attached to it at all. So today it was the rave this morning, and then this afternoon I mentioned to you, I went on Clubhouse. Now I've only been on Clubhouse 3 times when I felt really like, no, I want to go on Clubhouse and chat to someone maybe. And straight away I found a room that's to do with heart-centeredness or something like that. And I've got a tail end of a conversation where it's to do with females saying what they really want, and does anyone want to say what they really want? And then I was like, I flashed just straight away, came up in this big room, and they're like, so what do you really want, Caroline? And I was like, well, I really want to do a massive production and create loads of creative visuals alongside my raves and my messages that are all about empowerment, and deliver at something like a Tony Robbins event. And she said to me, oh my goodness, I just visualized it before you even said his name, and I'm a Tony Robbins trainer, let's hook up. So she's just messaged me. I haven't looked at it yet, but she wants to connect. And then last week, 5 people asked me about doing an evening rave, and I was like, okay, so now's the time. If I'm going to do evenings, I need to go out to global, because
to the US and beyond.
So then I thought, right, well, if this is right, when does it feel right? And I like to batch my raves, because it takes a lot of energy for me to deliver them, because you've seen the energy that I give is high.
Yeah.
And so now I like to batch them and then have like a week or two to relax, and then build up for the next ones and create and stuff. And so I thought, right, well, I've got one this Friday, so maybe I could do Thursday night, because it's all set up. But this was like 5 days ago, and I was like, well, how am I going to do it in the US in 5 days? And I thought, being authentic, I want to trial it. I'm not gonna. I want to trial the sound quality first. So I messaged someone who I'd met through Clubhouse on just the second time I'd been on Clubhouse, who's in the States. And I said, look, I'm thinking of trialing. Would you be interested? And she said, oh, funnily enough, I'm on a retreat and I'll have a group of women together on Thursday. Would you want to do it then? And I'm
like, my God. It just, from everything that you're sharing, Caroline, it just, what blows me away, because I'm similar to you in the fact that, you know, a heart-centered business of actually finding your flow. Because I mean, I've taken countless programs and gone to business seminars, to your point about, and yes, there is strategy stuff, right? And I think this can be what's very scary for a lot of us. If like you've got an idea you want to develop, and then it just seems like a mountain to climb, and it seems like you need to know all of these things. But actually, from what you're describing, it's about tapping into your why, your energy behind that, and then just following that and allow each step to uncover itself to then, that's the inspired action that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I it's like I listen to, it's like the invitation will come in. So like those 5 people said to me, are you going to do evening raves? Then that's given, then immediately my gut instinct is, oh, that means I need to do global. So then, right, well, how can I make that happen really easily? I need to trial it. Just contact that one person, see what happens. And then that's it, bang, done. So it is totally just going from moment to moment. But I do have an overall big goal.
Yeah.
I do have a big goal.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like, because I was asking myself a lot of questions before I was DJing, which I was going to share with you guys, because I thought it might help a couple of people in terms of finding what lights you up. And if you are wanting a purpose, the kind of questions to ask yourself. But yeah, no, it's very much about listening, taking the next step, but then also being brave enough to then go, no, that's not right anymore, and then change, because some things I've learned, and then it's been right, that was right for then because I learned this, and now it's this, and that it's such a freeing way to I mean, I've never thought I would talk like this ever. You know, I was like, need to know what it looks like, all that strategy thing. I just pay for big business things. I need to understand my niche. I need to know who it is, where they are, all that stuff. It just gets you in your head.
It does. And it traps you there. And then often that's where you can fall prey to procrastination, because you've got too busy doing all the thinking and strategizing that you're not putting yourself out there. And that's where your successes come from, right?
Yeah, it is. And I got stuck in, I need to do my website. And then it was, I need to rebrand. And then it was like, no, because you don't even know where it's going. You don't. And is your money, is your success coming from your color scheme and your website? No, none of it's coming from that. It's coming from people connecting with you and just turning up as yourself. You know, I mean, I follow quite a few people who are really successful, and they're all really authentic, and I love that. They're, you know, they're just being themselves.
Yeah, I think gone are the days of this kind of, you know, guru-esque, I've got it all figured out, because then you're unrelatable. And I think, to your point, you know, very much around inspiring other people. This is what true alignment is about. And like for me, that's where authentic action came from, because I realized that, oh, right, so if I align what I do with what I love, then I feel this beautiful flow. Oh, you mean I don't have to do all of that other stuff that I've been telling myself I have to do? Oh, right, okay, I can just start doing more of that. And I think, to your point, that's your rocket fuel right there.
Yeah.
And your rocket fuel will then, and I think that's the beautiful thing about the energetics, in terms of what then you're pumping out, because I can very much say when I saw you on video, it's a sensory thing. It's almost indescribable, but you just kind of feel drawn in something. Yeah. And it's this intangible, you can't describe it, something, it's a quality. Like, I need to be part of this.
Yeah.
And you know, but that's for me, as you describe it, that's you being in your greatest alignment. That's not you going, oh, who can I be that's going to please the most people? This is you going, what lights me up? I'm going to go out with what lights me up.
Yeah. Oh, and also it feels also, I know it sounds a bit spiritual, but it's not actually me. I've said, like, use me for what I'm here to be used for in terms of serving humanity. And so you know, because I've got this really big dream. In fact, I've just been talking to a charity commission today, because I'm setting up a foundation, and my profits are going to go towards supporting people to do what lights them up, whether it is to do with self-esteem, whether it's to do with you know, that message that doing what lights you up is so much more important than knowing what job you're supposed to be having. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't need to. All I know is that the next step, set up the foundation, and then the people will come in who are right for me to support. Yeah. And then I will see what they're doing, and I'll see a gap, and I'll be like, right, I want to set up a charity that's doing that, and I'll set up my own charity. So I know what's going to happen, but I just don't know when. Yeah. And I don't know how it's going to look, but it'll all evolve. Yeah. So I feel that when you are not doing it for yourself, but then that doesn't mean that everyone has to do that, because actually we're all different, and that I know that that's part of my life purpose, because I've had soul plans done and I can just feel it. But for other people it's not, and that's okay. Yeah. It can be that they're here to be really successful in their own right and frigging enjoy. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. And to your point, is the rule is there's no rules. And I think we're in this mass, and I think we're breaking out of conformity. And I think partly that's what this last year's been about, and this is what the next year will be about too, which is actually, we're not going to go back to normal. We're going to create a new normal from this. Because to your point, how do you know? And I love, I wrote down when you said it before, like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't need to know. Yeah. I don't need to know, because you're co-creating with everybody else that comes into your field of play.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that's where the magic happens, right? That's where you kind of, because I think, you know, yes, there's space for strategy, and there's space to, you know, have some structure around things, but not to let that imprison you. I think this is where we're all both on the same page, that it's a framework within which to play.
Yes, exactly.
And it's more of that harnessing that spontaneity.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like we said before, and to pivot and go. And because if you do a framework, then you're not limitless. You know, you're not open to something you never even dreamed would come in.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I feel like I've got a divine path. I'm on it now. So I don't know where it's going to take me. Like I feel like there's as well as me creating, I feel like that there's something else for me.
Yeah. And this is your path that you're on, because you spoke about, actually, you know, obviously your fight with 20 years suffering from bulimia and all of that other stuff. When you reflect back on that journey, because it sounds like you've gone from needing to control to then a place of trust and surrender. Like that's what feels like you're talking about opening up. How do you reflect on that journey? Like that's your particular journey. But if you were to, I don't know, share a bit of your story of back then, and then what you've learned from it, I guess, to get to where you are now, if that's not too much of a huge question.
No. Well, it was, I haven't really opened up about the ins and outs of the addiction, but it started in my 20s, in my my late teens. Issues with food started from a very young age, and then it got really quite, it was bad. It was bad. It was quite a you know, it was very ingrained for a very long time, and it was a coping mechanism, but it was also it was numbing, numb, just, you know. And it wasn't just bulimia. I took a lot of drugs as well, and it went on for a long time. And then I had my daughter, and I still wasn't fully well. And then I started in personal development, and I was able to stop doing it, but I was able to stop doing it from a place of control again. So I was just strict with food.
Right.
I took certain foods out, which I still can't have certain foods. It's just because chemically, if I have certain foods, it's like it sends it off.
Trips you back into.
If I have drugs, if I have a cigarette, if I have anything like that, then it starts that, oh, well, I could have a little bit. I didn't really like it. Just starts off this whole barrage of madness. I mean, I'm sure in 5-10 years it might be different. I don't know, but it works for me to abstain, and that's what they do in the 12 steps. But I've actually done it by myself. I did have CBT and stuff like that, but I've actually just done it by myself. But actually, it's been working on self-worth and self-love and giving my inner child what she needed that has actually been the healer in it. But I'm not fully there at all. You know, I still suffer. But and it's funny you should say that, you know, I've gone from this perfection and control into you know, more of a flow. I have in my business. It's been very successful in my business to be able to do that, even though it's been very uncomfortable. It's not as apparent in my personal life. There's still elements of control, especially around my daughter. You know, and so and seeing her go through pain, and that triggers me because of the pain I went through, and you know what I mean. So that's a little bit more complex. And I'm really open with people about it in my groups. You know, and they've seen me come a long way with that. I would, do you know what? I'm actually just thinking about it now. I was looking at my the other day. I was looking at what authenticity actually means in my business. I feel like I've got it really quite sorted, but in my home life, what does it mean a little bit more? I've done some. I actually recorded a vlog on it recently, and it's about me, kind of owning the parts of myself that have been I've shamed. You know, which I'm doing a lot more, but it shows up a lot in my marriage. Like a lot of a blame martyrism that goes on. I can take myself away and I can look at me, but I'm going to give myself what I need, what that teenager needs, basically. And I'm very much on a journey with that, but also with, you know, I was telling my ladies the other day with my style and stuff. I'm feeling like I'm wanting to be a lot more feminine. And I've not done that before. been quite edgy with my style, and it's had that sharpness to it still. That don't. So, in terms of authentic, so my next step I thought would be, right, well, let's be. It feels as uncomfortable, very uncomfortable to start to dress femininely, and to ask for help. And to admit that I might be wrong and to make mistakes, and to be intimate, and to show love. You know, so authenticity is, for me, harder in my personal.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, thank you for sharing that, Caroline, because I think that's a really interesting point to make, because these things aren't, you know, a cover for everything of like, you know, I mean, nothing happens in a vacuum, but I think to start in one part of your life, though, actually shows that you have the flexibility and the agility to go, well, actually, you know, and even just asking that question. And I love how you say it, because I used to think, looking back, of, you know, some of my beliefs of almost, oh, like, I'll be happy when, you know, when I figure it all out. And then you realize that we're just constant work in progress, constant, like we never arrive. And I think even just knowing that is freeing. To say, well, we're all just figuring it out. No one's got it all sorted. You know, everybody's got their challenges and their struggles. And I think the powerful thing of what you're sharing is that, you know, being truthful and not, you know, not putting that facade on that everything, you know, the swan of like paddling like hell underneath the water and you're like serene, you know.
But
who you are.
What's good now is that I've got I can come in here and I can it's the balance, isn't it? It's the balance, and it builds me up, and it's giving me an identity now, which you know, I lost myself after having that, and I lost who I was, because before I had her, when I was wild, I was fun, even though I was bulimic and extremely off my head, I was such good fun. And you know,
you were feral.
I was. And then I had her and lost that, then got caught up in personal development, which was like deep and dark, and started thinking I needed to walk around in white all the time, and oh god, it was just because of
purifying.
I was looking at all, and spiritual bypassing, basically.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, and then then found this, and I've come alive. So I've got the strength to face all those things now. I've got attitude back, I've got strength back, and fun.
It's funny, isn't it? I've kind of thought about this before, of this alchemy of taking the dark stuff and taking the really light stuff and then just mix it in a big bowl and go, this is all me.
Yes,
this is all me, this is all sides of me, and it's all beautiful. Some of it's really messy, and some of it looks like quite polished and rather pretty to look at, and everything in between. And I think that if we all can help each other just celebrate that and just be a lot more open to it, then that in its essence means then less suffering. I think it's this pretending that's exhausting.
Oh yeah, the pretending and the judgment.
Oh
yeah,
it's exhausting. And we all do it, but I think we are conditioned to judge, right? But yeah, no, it's exactly what you say. I think for those that are watching, we've still got some lovely people. Ushma, Sarah, Claire, thanks for watching. Gemma and Kelly, thank you. Oh, and Julian. If anyone's got any questions for the lovely DJ Flourish, Caroline, then do let us know. If you had some, I suppose, advice, I guess, you know, you were saying about questions you asked yourself, actually, to kind of get closer to what lights you up. Like, where did you start with that journey then? What did you ask yourself?
Well, I went on a course, actually. It's called Become an Awakened Leader.
Okay.
I wanted to I wanted it to be quite pure
and
come from my heart, but then I knew I wanted to lead because I just felt it. And so they had a list of questions, but there were a few that were popping up all the time. And one of them, which was really instrumental in it, was, when have I been the most happiest in my life? And when have I been in the most engrossed in something?
Yeah.
And yes, fair enough, I was off my nut, but it was when I was
happening at the time.
It was when I was on a podium, or it was when I was at the after parties putting on the tunes. You know, I'd never want a party to end. I'd be like, no, I'd be hanging on. Come on, stay up, everyone. You know,
you were that person.
I was that person. And I would just make everyone dance, and you know, it was I would put together playlists and stuff like that and give CDs to my mates, and I would literally sit at work at the end of the day just like downloading tunes, and like, so it was like, oh right, that's really interesting. I'd forgotten about that person. I'd completely forgotten about her.
Yeah.
And then another one is that just that cliche one, you know, if you had all the time in the world, no fear, and all the money, what would you do?
Yeah.
And I knew, I just kept having a vision of me. I just felt very high vibes, and I felt authentic and being very real. I just felt that's all I kept feeling. I didn't know what it was, but if you start to keep asking yourself that, will start to bring things. But then it also, if you do have a purpose, it might not be the right time yet. So you can ask those kind of questions. But I think
in the timing,
the permission to have joy is really important, to do things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
You know, and to really sit with what does actually bring me joy.
Yeah, and to allow it. It's an allowing. I think a lot of people try and force it, and it's not. It's a, let's clear some space to allow it to come in, as opposed to like, I have to find it.
Well, that's what I did. I was lucky enough to be able to leave work for 6 months, and that's what I did. I said, right, come on.
Yeah, right. It's time. We just had lovely Susan, who I go see swoon with, say about she really misses dancing, healing my body. Oh bless, she had a hysterectomy after, and yeah, she's just saying about she wants to just dance her body off. Micro movements to connect to myself is the plan. Well, Susan, I can highly recommend you joining Caroline, because she will make your ass move without a doubt. I've been playing a lot of Caroline's, because she does, you're on Mixcloud, aren't you? And so you do then a lot of mixes that you can then download. So I've been like, you've been helping me clean my house, I've had the one in the shower, I've just been, and it is just, and I think especially some of the you know, old school tracks as well, of like remembering from way back, and all these memories come back online.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because it's great into the freedom that you used to feel. And we didn't care, did we? I mean, the stuff that I would do was like, I mean, the stories that I've got to tell.
That's a future book right there.
Yes, it is. Well, yeah, I don't know. I have to wait until my parents are dead. Definitely.
Change the names.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's that energy of confidence, and I don't give a shit, really.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Kelly. Caroline is bloody amazing. I agree. She's helped me massively. Lovely to meet you too, Christina. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for tuning in and sharing the love. This is what we want, and this is, you know, I want to like thank you, Caroline, for, you know, you putting yourself out there, because you know, for me as well as like a fellow person, when I first started doing my lives, for example, 2 years ago, I was nervous as hell. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I questioned myself. I was vulnerably sharing. I actually had a family member contact me very early on going, do you think you may be oversharing?
Yeah.
And I said, well, no, I'm not oversharing. I'm sharing what's on my heart. And if you have a problem with that, then that's actually your problem, not mine. So thank you.
Yeah, I've actually got really here it's in massive letters, take action now, like now.
Yes, that's just, yeah.
Just have to. It's got to be imperfect, and you've just got to start doing
It's
it.
like exactly, and I think that's the underlying thing, isn't it? The imperfect action, because everything, when you look back of what's happened, there are no such thing as mistakes. Everything is a learning opportunity, and it sounds like that's been pivotal to your success, that you've been willing to put yourself out there and have the feedback and do all of that stuff.
I started off with a really shit mic and it didn't work. And I remember at the end of one race, everyone was like, I couldn't hear you. And I was like, oh, okay. But I was so obsessed with this mic really working, and it didn't work. And I look back, you know, and the sound was shit at the beginning. And now I've learned what I needed to have. Now it's like, you know, crisp as whatever. And
yeah, totally.
In place. And yeah, so
but you've had to do that. I think this is the thing, because a lot of the time people say to me, oh well, look at so and so, because like she's got it all figured out, and how did she do that? And I'm like, yeah, but you don't see all of the steps that led to that point, and it's messy.
It is messy. And but the thing is they weren't seeing any of that. They were just seeing my energy.
Yeah,
they were seeing my energy and the tunes that I was picking, and that was enough.
Yes, well, there you go.
It doesn't need to be all the other stuff. I'll look back in 6 months at where I am now and my mixing skills and everything, and be like, whoa, I'm so much further ahead now, you know. But it doesn't matter, because what I'm delivering is enough. It's more than enough for people. Do you know what I mean? But when, I mean, it's going to just go up and up and up. It's exciting.
Yeah, we've got Catherine on as well, who runs boot camps and is on the Herbalife team as well, and she does some epic lives with her exercises. And Catherine, you went to a Tony Robbins event, didn't you, recently, I think, as well?
And that was the recent one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the online one where he had all of the monitors around him, I think. But yeah, what I love about what you're saying is that with the take action, I think to first get clear and give yourself permission to get clear on, right, what is it that lights me up? And it might just be one thing that you actually just introduce more into your life, and then go, I wonder where this is going to take me. Where might this take me? I don't know.
Well, it can be anything from like, you know, when I look at things that bring me joy, it's like creating playlists and obviously DJing, but also I've got other things like going to garden centres. I love garden centres and like putting together pots and stuff like that. Excuse me. But I love networking. I love being interviewed, and I love interviewing people, and I love connecting with women who are like-minded, and I like going for walks one-on-one with women who are like-minded. I don't like big groups. I don't. So, you know, you can do what I really like and what I don't like, because if you, you know, if you looked at your energy for a whole day and looked at what's actually bringing you joy out of that whole day, you know, I've done it. And when I first started, it was like 0. And now for me, it's like at least 50% of my day is full of things that I love doing. And I will make, because I've really set that intention, and I've really said, I am worthy of joy. I deserve joy. You know, joy is important. I will make the things that I don't really like joyful. So I listen
put
to
the joy into them.
I listen to Clubhouse whilst doing the ironing today, you know, and when I'm cooking, I listen to things. So it doesn't have to be this thing that then is going to be your purpose, that then you're going to solve the world with, and it's too big, shit, I can't deal with it. It's just got to be a little thing, little
tiny things, step by step,
tiny things.
No, I love that so much. And I think it's exactly, you know, like I say, what I very much specialize in, which is noticing and helping people guide what is lighting you up, what is making your energy uplift, asking yourself those questions, and think about a time when you're in your greatest flow or greatest, you know, power. But also, what are the things that drain you? And just be really clear, because that's where the contrast lies. Because I think half the time I meet a lot of people that live in this grey area where they don't let themselves get too high and they don't let themselves get too low. So they live at this stunted life.
Yes.
And that's stagnancy. That's we're meant to hear all of the musical notes. We're meant to feel alive, whether that's, and something you said earlier actually that I forgot to mention, the frequency, so the hertz of anxiety, feeling anxiousness, are actually along the same lines as excitement.
Yes.
It's the label, it's a story we put ourselves, on that indicates and creates that mood. But frequency wise, they're the same.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And but also something that I've been discussing quite a bit with my members recently is that when you have been in such a dark place like I was, I can now appreciate the contrast and the high. And because I've had such a disconnection to my body, as I start to heal and connect with my body, I'm feeling sensations probably more than anyone would ever feel. And then because I've had a closed off heart, and it's felt like someone's been sitting on my chest for most of my life, and I've been emotionally unavailable, and everything's been stuffed down. As my heart opens, it's just sweeter and richer than anyone else would experience. So actually, if you have experienced, so it is an invitation to go down to those and look, because then you will feel the heightened.
You can't, it's the rock bottom is, that's how knowing that makes you enjoy the mountaintop. You can't have the mountaintop without the rock bottom. Exactly. And that speaks to me so much. Like I look back for me, and some of my highest points of where I felt the most powerful, the most in tune, months, weeks before, were a very low point. And I think it's the more that we can help each other embrace that, and for that to be okay and hold space. And that goes with our children as well, helping them with their emotional agility to not, tell them, don't cry, it's like, no, express how you feel. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Hard, though.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's hard. Definitely. It's very hard. But yeah.
So to bring it to a close, because I know I could talk to you for hours about all of this stuff. What are your up and coming events? So, and we'll make sure that we can put in the comments where people can follow you, come find you, stalk you.
Oh yes. So this Friday I've got Emerge into Spring raves. So I have one at 7:30 in the morning and one at 9:30 in the morning, and they're for an hour. But they're basically half an hour of community meditation, and then half an hour of rave. And what I'm doing for this one is because it's about emerging into spring. If anyone has got any specific intention where they would like some rapid growth in their life, and it can be anything, mine is to cultivate more of a loving awareness towards myself. It's not, this doesn't have to be high vibe joy. For me, it's more loving awareness. So if anyone's got any kind of intention, I'll be in contact beforehand, and then we can set the scene for that, and it'll all the whole thing will be around it. It's going to be really good fun. And then I don't have another one for 3 weeks, because I know intuitively that I have to wait, because I'm trialing in the US on Thursday, and so I know it's exciting. And
can you share when your US ones, because I know that I've got friends in the US that will be watching, so do share that too.
Oh well, it's going to be on the 8th of the actual one, if the trial goes okay, which I know it will.
Oh right, okay, so that's the trial.
There's a trial this Thursday,
right,
with a group of women, and then and then the actual one is on Thursday the 8th of April.
Right, 8th of April.
Times. So I will share that. I'm just contemplating the times, but my gut is just do 2, one at 4 p.m. and one at 8 p.m. because I feel like it's times for different.
Yeah, of course, because you've got kind of East Coast, West Coast, and
yes,
further afield, all of the time zones, truly taking it global, shining your light globally.
They are, and then anyone who wants to come from the evening here who's not a morning person in the UK can come.
Yes.
So that's that. And then, you know, I'm doing a law of attraction rave on Thursday for a law of attraction coach. So if there's any coaches out there that want to talk about me supporting them, you know, and I'm also doing, like, I've been doing well-being recordings for well-being platforms, all this kind of stuff. So it's just, if you're like, yay, I could connect with Caroline and we could talk about that, just get in contact.
I love it. Absolutely. This is yes to all of this, because like I say, just I'm loving how you just show up as you know, and isn't it so interesting how you can, I mean, we only connected, like I say, a week ago, and I already feel like, yeah, I've known Caroline for years. That's just proof when you feel like, you know, you're obviously comfortable in your own skin, but also comfortable not being comfortable in your own skin. And I think that is inspirational. So thank you for showing up and radiating that, because it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christina.
You're very welcome. No, and thank you everybody who's tuned in to watch the Tuesday Live. This is going to get put out, so for anyone who's caught it halfway through and wants to listen from the beginning, then they can. If you do visit, do let me know that you stopped by. You know, put in replay or whatever you want to say, wave, say hello, so we can say hello back. Yeah, they will, like, watch this space and get to one of Caroline's raves, because they are epic.
Yeah, and if anyone's like, yeah, I want to do it, but it feels too scary, just let me know, because we can just talk about it.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's not scary.
It's not.
It's a lot less scary than people think.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you know, I think the very fact that, you know, when I came on, you said, you know, you can leave your camera on, you can leave your camera off. I think I started it with it off, and I was like, I'm putting it on. So you get, that's the beautiful thing, that you, like, to your point, you're holding space for all of the women and kind of saying, look, you know, where do you want to be? How do you feel? Honor that, which is amazing.
Yeah,
love it. Yay. So thank you everyone who's watched, and yeah, I will well, I'll be attending more raves for sure, and yeah, watch this space for more high vibe energy and vulnerability and authenticity and all of that good stuff.
Yeah,
fantastic.
everyone.
See you. Bye.